Alright, hello, welcome everyone. I am EJ from OT2 Pass and Bay Area Car 5 Vanguard. And just so recently, I've caught in top 16 from the most recent BCS Vancouver. And I ended up getting a bit B-Heroes. And obviously, that comes to a shock to everyone that, oh, B-Heroes made it. It's not like Harluru. Like everyone what you expected, like Harluru, prison, everything like that. But like, yeah. I ended up deciding on playing B-Heroes for three particular reasons. One of them being I just lacked practice. I literally took a break from the game for like almost 6 months now, just because of how tiring the format is and how the format is right now. And I just wanted to have fun. I didn't really come into top or anything. I just wanted to have fun. Hence why my second reason is B-Heroes is my pet deck. And I've had this deck since BT06, ever since Dinos came out, and I always wanted to keep the deck. So I've kept this deck in rotation for me for like ever since so recently now, where it got new support, and I just like, hey, I wanted to get to play this deck again, play the game a little bit more. So when I heard that it got a new Vanguard, a new red line, and everything like that like I will explain later, it actually goes to show that this deck is actually very strong. And I will go about combos, I will go about everything about it. I also got on stream because BCS Vancouver was streamed and sponsored by Bushy Road, by my good friend Charlie, our card dweeb, on Twitter and on YouTube. I will go in depth about that game, but there's not a lot to talk about that game because it was really quick. It was like literally like a 5-minute game because I ended up killing him while he was still on grade 2. I also go around, I mentioned the deck profile, the matchups I went to, combos, analysis with the deck, why I did what I did, or why these ratios for these examples. A lot of questions that were asked to me during that time, and also just dive down about that game, about that game basically. But yeah, let's move this to the side here. Alright, let's start with the red line. Start with my starter, 1, 2, 3, and pretty standard. 0 and 1. I mean, it's not locked into any Vanguard or any starter, so you can literally play anything. I just like this just because it just looks cute, I guess. We always have to start with the grade 1 that searches for a base. Pretty straightforward, nothing much to do with it. This one, on the other hand, this is actually brand new, a brand new red line. We had a old red line back in BT6 where it was literally just the current format's buddy fight, gauge and draw, where instead of just gauging and draw, we just base a hero from our hand and then we just draw a card. So same idea, but now it feels super lackluster now. This one, on the other hand, is actually super custom. It is literally disgusting how custom this card is, because instead of doing gauge and draw, what it does, it is an axe skill. It is if hello, focus, hello, sorry, a little bit of camera difficulties, but what it does is that it discards a card from your hand. You reveal a grade 3 of your red deck, so basically your B-Hero, and you search your deck for one base and one hero. The hero goes to base, and then the base goes back to hand. Why is that super stupid? Well, it solves two of the issues that this deck had beforehand. One of them was just searching its instant tutor for any B-Hero that you end up missing on your base, which is very huge because this deck had an issue with consistency. And with this card literally just tutoring whatever base hero you need, it saves you that issue. And another issue is that you don't always get to 3 bases by turn 3. This one saves you that issue. And why? How can we get to 3 bases on turn 2? I will explain why. But this card is super custom. This card is actually super stupid. Like, this literally makes the deck in a way. But there are literal more custom cards in this deck that no one really thought of. So I'll show you why. But here's the new Vanguard, last card of our red line, and this Vanguard is like very awkward on paper when initially I saw it, but it turns out to be okay. So usually it's two very straightforward abilities where on attack, at the end of battle it attacks. You get to counterblast 1, shove 2 rear guards anywhere on the board to soul, and then you get to base itself to ride any grade 3 from the base to the Vanguard circle, which is basically literally just saying it's just youth perk. It just does a youth perk thing where it just rides a new Vanguard and a new swing for -1 drive. The second part of the skill basically is that if it has and then at the end of turn it kind of just rewrites it back, so it's literally just a youth perk style Vanguard now. The second ability of it being is that if there's a grade 3 hero into soul, it just gets an extra 5k. It's nothing special. Later, the Vanguard on paper seems unbelievably mid, but a lot of the support cards end up making it rounds out to be a really decent deck. Also, I forgot to tell y'all, but the real reason why I brought this deck, another reason why I brought this deck is that nobody knows heroes. Literally nobody knows heroes. All of tournament, everyone was like asking me like, oh, can I ask what these cards do? Or like, can I read those cards? Or like, oh, I don't know anything about this deck. Like, literally, I've been getting that all tournament long, and that got me my edge in a way. Which was great because that means like literally what I do here is literally nothing that they can do. The cool thing too is that there were also people that played this deck before back in BT6, which is cool, but you can already tell that they don't know anything from the new stuff. So it was very good. It's very fun to showcase them the new power of this deck and like basically giving them, you know, the beating of a lifetime, you know. Okay, to the main deck. So we'll start with the bases. We'll do 4 of the Aegis and 3 of the Ice. One of them being the promo, which is what we got like 2 months ago. So the grade 2 base is basically what we had, pretty textbook what we've had so far. It's literally just top 7. Grabs 3 heroes from that top 7, adds 1 of the heroes to hand, and then the other 2 to the base. That seems very strong, obviously, for no reason. Literally, for 1 card, you get to filter 3, like that. And then you could choose to pitch a card, to rest it, to call any unit from the base into the field. Or if your Vanguard is getting attacked, you get to rest it, so blast 1 to guard, basically. So it has its attacking and its defensive properties. Very strong card. There's no reason why you want to play 4. You literally want to find literally every card here is literally a -3 on deck, and it's literally a thin for triggers every time. But this is not the only thing that's like pretty good. Like this is probably like another custom card basically is the promo base Yabes. So what it does, it just rests when you play it. Nothing really happens, but when you rest it, you get to basically scout any hero from your drop zone to the base, as long as it's a different name from any of the other heroes from the base. And why is that strong? The issue that this deck has is removal, and if you're against like a board wipe deck like Varga, this deck kind of saves you. Well, it does a band-aid issue, a band-aid to that big issue where the whole board gets broken, but this is why the second skill activates, or the second skill is what we need a lot more. It is another X skill where if the order zone ends up having four bases, so like these are all bases, which is super easy to get. You get to put a standing version of this, so it can't be rested and then sent in. It'll be a little bit too broken. But if you send a standing one in the soul, you basically search for a grade 2 or less B-Hero from your drop, and you add it to hand, and then it makes your Vanguard skill currently -1 cost. So instead of you paying CB1 to send to the soul, it's literally just sending to the soul, and that one CB can make a difference, especially if people know that if you CB with this, it makes a lot of problems, especially later on. So this card literally solves most of the issues now, or the board removal issue that this deck had, because the big question why this card, like the Vanguard, was so mid at the start of this, like on paper, was that I need CB. I need on average 3 CB for me to have a decent turn. If I send 2 rares, what am I gonna do with those, like the heroes in soul, and then like what am I supposed to do to regain the board if per se like 2 rare guards are gone and I had to use these other heroes to guard, right? So this solves this issue. Very good card. I've thought of playing just 2. I ended up playing 3 just because I'd love to have at least 1 on the base every time, just to continuously rest and just keep putting heroes back in there, and the second one just to send in soul, just to minus the cost and to tutor any of the B heroes from my drop back to hand to use down the rear on the board. So every 3 is good. If you end up damaging it, it does tend to hurt, so you kind of have to balance between the 2. That's why the third one always helps. Yeah, we'll go into the 3s. So we only play 2 personas in the main deck, just because it's searchable. What you will notice, I'll just TLDR everything. Literally your entire main deck is B heroes, like all of this, and that is why the grade 2 is super strong, because you're literally grabbing everything from here. And you only need 2 personas just because you're pretty much going to be ending on turn 4, at most turn 5, so that's why we only need 2. And they're also searchable from the base, so you don't have to worry about it. It's also, if you end up basing it from the base, like you have that issue, like hey, how can I get that? If we'll solve that issue, I'll show you later. But we'll play 2 only. We don't need 3. It tends to be too much. It tends to be too extra overkill. We play 2 dinos, basically the old Vanguard, because like I said, we do ride a new Vanguard, so we ride into dinos. So to refresh everyone's memory, when this guy is placed, or not placed, but is on the Vanguard circle, all front row rearguard B heroes get +5. It doesn't seem a lot, but numbers in this deck can get pretty big over time, so that 5k matters. But the other one, the reason why that -1 CB is super important is that when you swing, it's CB1 to give it +15 in a crit, and that's usually when you're on your turn 3 turn 28 with a crit. That's pretty strong, especially as a Vanguard skill that ends up being a -1 drive. So 28k with a crit, 1 drive, that's like hell, especially if you're still on grade 2. So pretty strong ability, very straightforward. Literally makes the grade 1 base so much better, because this wikes this version of the grade 3 cheap, and then when you go into here, you could use the 1 CB that you saved with this for this, make it a 20k. You basically make 2 Vanguard attacks for 1 CB, which is pretty good, very good. That's pretty much it for the grade 3s. Going into the grade 2s, obviously we'll start with the base searchers. So this card we play 4 of, the Levin Frondia, and we play Darny at 3. So small explanation. What they do, they both search for bases, and what they do especially, which is more important, is that they are not using your order for turn. And that is insane, considering that we play 7 bases and they search for all of those bases and they play it for free. The only caveat, the only difference between being is that this one, the cost for it is literally just on place, scout any card from your hand to the order zone, and then you search your deck or drop for a base, and then you just place it. And that's pretty good because you're just building up your base. You're searching your deck for a base, and if you run out of bases, you can choose to drop 2 to just place it down. So if you're, say you're damaging one of your bases, it heals, and then there's no more bases in there, you could just play it from drop instead. Or if you have the grade 1 and you shoved it in the soul and you soul blasted it off the grade 2 base, you can literally just retutor it back in, and that's pretty good. That's very strong. The other one being the second ability, where if it attacks, it will get 5k for the battle for every different named base. So before we got the promo, we only had 1 base, so we only got +5, which was super mid at the time. But now we have a second base, so it's literally a 20k beat stick now, which is like super strong, especially like. But it's only it's grade 3 locked. It's all opponent grade 3 locked, so it's like whatever. So, but going into like Persona turns, for example, or like going into your first grade 3 turn while they're at grade 3, 20 is pretty decent. It's okay. It's at least asking for a 10 or 15, right? Or double intercept. It's not bad. So very strong card. Saves us the issue of having damaged bases from drop and like rebasing them, and then constant reusage of the grade 1 base if we need to. The second one is Amasdarnia. We had this a little bit before, a little bit after set 6, where it's just soul blast 1, discard 1, just search for a base. And the only issue of this being is that it's only deck specific. If we ran out of bases in deck, it's kind of dead. But the strong thing about this card is that it is CB1. If you have 3 bases in the order zone, you could CB1 to call a card from your base to the to the board. And the one thing that's crazy about this, it's not grade locked. Meaning, if you get 3 bases while you're at grade 2, you could do 4 attacks, which is kind of broken. It's kind of stupid to like on paper to think about. It's like, oh, well, you're doing just 10, 10, 10, and then or 10, and the battle call another 10, another 10, another 10, and then if this gets a defensive, everything's dead. Well, for one, sure, that happens. That's just the reality of it being. It's just the reality of defensives. But if they don't hit defensives, great. I'm gonna give you a second attack. You don't hit a defensive? Okay, I'll give you a second attack. Okay, no defensive, or you hit a defensive? Sure, I'll swing one more time. Oh, I hit a trigger, I give it one more time, make it over. Like, literally, most of this deck is just checking every time, starting from grade 2, just for defenses. And if you're not, you're just gonna keep getting punished and checked. And 4 attacks, especially turn 2, is kind of broken. It's considering this deck wants to finish by turn 4. So, pretty good. Always want to search for these whenever you get a chance. Always want to add them when you get a chance. So, yeah. Going into a couple more of the grade 2s. We'll go with the 1-ofs first. So, this is Bold Solos and Felvis. 2 1-ofs that I am considering like putting in work, but this one was pretty old, so it's just when you ditch it for the base call. So when you rest it, pitch card, and call a card from base. If you use this specifically, you get to CB1, call it to the board, and then you get to scout 1 from drop. So the only issue of it being now is that it is CB, and you do want to use CB for mostly just for Vanguard skill or for a Amasdarnia instead. So it's not as great, but if you're like given like 5 CB into your turn and then you need to fix the board, like build a board pretty easily, this is pretty good. It's like another way to get your board like remade or made. So pretty good card. It is also a 20k beat stick. So the moment 2 bases are on the order zone, it's a 20k beat stick. Not grade restricted either. So you can see like the synergy with the Mastarnias is that if you swing here, CB1, call this instead, it's gonna be 20, so it's always gonna be over a defensive. So pretty strong card. Not bad for the value. I mostly just use it for the 20k beat stick kind of idea now. It's only like when situations come by where I need it, so it's cool. Felvis though is a little bit different. Say because it isn't on like at post battle base baker, so it is a promo as well. It used to be a promo that got reprinted to hell. But at the end of the battle, it attacks. I get to Soul Blast 1. I get to grab any hero from my base. So hinting Persona. I hint Persona, basically. You Soul Blast 1, kill it, add Persona to hand. And then if you have a base from in your hand or in your drop, you basically get to put it into the order zone for free. So meaning, if you end up having 2 bases on that turn, and then there's a base in drop, you could just do this at the end of battle, get to play the base as rest, and that's super strong because that's another chance to get 3 heroes into the base, which is very strong. Or if you have Persona into the order zone and you need to pick it up for next turn, that's another way you can get you there. It's a little setup way. Pretty strong card. I've considered playing 2 of these initially, just so that I can have more post battle base serving, because if you end up playing this, it ends up becoming a little bit awkward, because if you need a second one going into your turn, you're gonna need to bring it back. Hence why if you play this, you Soul Blast 1 to add any card from your order zone. If you Soul Blast this out, it will end up being in drop. You could actually base it right after. So if this was in Soul, for example, you Soul Blast this out, add a hero, retire it, and then base this instead. So you just end up doing a looping cycle, and that's why I think it's broken. So you kind of want to keep that. I feel like that's a mandatory one, just to have that kind of combo keeping like always in rotation. I always thought about 2, but I feel like the lack of power is the only thing that's holding this card back. So I feel like 1 is enough. So what else? Last grade 2. Brand new card. Literally brand new card. But it literally makes the deck. It solves the one issue that this deck had, where if you send 2 rares to Soul, you just have laying B-Heroes in Soul. And that was the one thing that kind of sucked with this deck, is that you just have so much Soul and you have no usage for it. Because if you Soul Blast, you don't want to Soul Blast 1, rest a base, and put in a 5k piece that you're going to need later, and it's going to blow. This, on the other hand, makes everything so much better, because it reads, if this card is placed by ability, or placed on the order zone to Rearguard Circle or Guardian Circle, you get the Soul Blast 2 draw. And a going pattern about this game, if you draw cards, you're a very strong deck. And this deck draws cards now. Finally. I've waited like literally a year for this card to get a draw. But that's not the only issue why this card is so good. It mentions Rearguard Guard Circle. And why is that on Guard Circle? Because it has a continuous ability that if you have a singular base, it gets plus 5k. If you have 3 bases, it gets another 5k and 5k shield. Meaning it is a 10k shield, 20k beat stick. Like, is that not custom? Is that not insane? Just to have a 20k beat stick on the Rearguard Circle. Not to mention, if you intercept it, it's a 10k shield. So it has usages on both sides of the field. And in combination to MS Darnia, You call this a great turn 2, CB1, call this instead. This procs, the Soul Blast 2 procs. The Soul Blast 2 draw procs. So literally you just refunded the value of a card to draw a card to possibly be a PG, Persona piece, just to put this on there. That is literally insane. And sure, if you intercept it, you don't get the Soul Blast to draw one more time. But if you, for some reason, you have a tight pinch and you need to have guard this turn, you just Soul Blast 1, and you have so much B-Heroes in your soul, like a stack of this. You literally Soul Blast 1, rest the base, call this on a guard circle, Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. You have all your base, like all your heroes that were stuck in the soul, back in the drop, in rotation for the next turn. So this solves the issue that was in soul, solves your lack of hand, solves your lack of power, and solves the lack of shield. That is so custom and so stupid. That was literally just picked up last up. Like, it was super sleeper. It's insane how people just miss that, right? And I play 4. There were lists that I was like studying that played 3. In this format where everyone's hitting insane numbers, I value the 10k shield over everything, so I kind of want to keep it. And every time I want to do my top 7 search, I want to at least have one of these in order zone and in hand, just because of the 10k shield value. So I kind of want to play multiple of these, so that's why I'll play 4. My card is just stupid broken, bro. It's insane. On to the grade 1s. We'll just straight put in the obvious. 3 PGs, 1 Elementaria. You need to play Elementaria because Heart Luru's in this game, and two card guard is kind of dumb. So we could just bypass this with this. It's no big deal. Pretty straightforward. If you play the game, you're gonna get used to it. 3 PGs, usual. Pretty straightforward. All right. Going into the grade 1s, we'll play 3 of these, 2 of the rare guard swappers, and 1 counter charger. Short explanation, we had this like 2 sets after set 6, so it is a 13k base, basically continuous. If you have an order, like if you have a base in the order zone, so it's always 13k. But that's not just the crazy thing. It's cool, nice 13k beater or a 13k booster. But the good thing is that you can EB3 rest a base to call any card from the base onto the Vanguard circle. It just has to be equal or less than to Vanguard, so small caveat, but that's pretty strong. This card is actually way more better than I thought initially. When I played it, I did a couple practice lines and I thought this was locked into just the grade 2 base, but you could also do it on the grade 1 base and you could still call things. I'll show you a small combo onto what happened. What you can do with this card if you see this early in your hand, but it's a very strong card, great card. The grade 2, got it since the set, since B-Heroes came in. It's not a booster behind Vanguard. It has to be behind Vanguard, and all it does is that at the end of battle, your Vanguard attacks is Soul Blast 1, rest itself to swap, like basically swap units from their circles, which is cool. It gets around the restand heals, it gets around crit heals, obviously. That's the most important thing that this deck has a benefit to it, is that this deck does not care about restand heals, especially right now in a format where Heart Lure restands too. We have very restanding Vanguards, restanding Rear Guards all over the meta. This deck does not care for it. It actually only cares about crit heals, and who in this format ever has crit heals? Like, it's out of this format right now, so it literally has 1 counter to it, and it's not even in this format. That's why this deck is so strong, because it just bypasses the whole restand dilemma. And then we have a counter charger, another promo. We have the counter charger. This card was very useless for me during the tournament because they'll either give me too much CB so I don't have to care about this card anymore, or they'll damage deny me and I don't need any damage at all to basically kill him that turn or to put too much pressure on him. I'll explain why later. But yeah, the only thing I'd at least cut, we'll obviously go to the quick stuff to finish everything. Trigger lineup, 8 crit, pretty straightforward. We play 3 draws because we don't want to play fronts, because if we end up having Forial, or the one that's behind Vanguard Rest is Swaps, the Swapper, if we hit a front before that happens, we just did half value of a front, which kinda sucks. I kinda don't like the idea. I've thought of the idea of playing 2 draws, 1 front, but it just feels so half value for what draws is right now. And as much as I don't care about pieces, because you get every piece no matter what in this deck, you still want to get pieces, and then you can never know if you draw and end up getting a PG that ends up saving your game. It's cool. So a little nice that 3 draws, 4 heals, 4 normal heals. I'm not really too bothered with the whole restain heal dilemma right now. I just personally think I could still live with the whole restain heal dilemma right now. So I don't really care for it. So just 4 normal heals, and then my OT of choice is red OT. There were discussions to play Elder Breath, sure. If you want to have an even more sacky ending to a game, sure, go ahead. I'm not beating you against it. It's just that there were so many games where I end up having OT, end up getting OT, and then the extra attack actually matters more than just the 3 units getting double power and crit. And the one caveat with Elder Breath is that if you're going to do a swap play where you're gonna swap, it's not till end of battle, and if you hit OT while this happens, it's only Forward that gets the double power crit. So this is basically dead, and it has to swap. So you're gonna have double power crit on both sides, and then on the other side it's gonna be a PB number. So another half-ass value trigger that ends up happening. A lot of the time with this deck, you want more just like designated power triggers rather than the front row, or like mostly just like front row design triggers, just because it kinda sucks to have half of them being valuable and the half time being PB. But yeah, only things I need to change with this deck for sure is, I guess the only changes that you could make with this deck is probably just playing 3 of this instead, 3 foils, just because whenever I want to tutor things, I want to limit the amount of things that I want to tutor. So having a 3/3 line is not bad. Another thing is I could also, being a little more risky, just swapping, well, keeping everything here the same, other than these, other than the ones here. Let's see, having these at 4 can be very strong. It also can be a little bit too much. So it can be another flex B-Hero of your choosing. And you probably noticed right now, from the deck profile, where's the ace unit? Where is the Regalis piece? Literally one reason why we don't play that in this deck list: consistency. We don't want a singular card in this deck that ends up not being searchable. Like, the only things that I don't want searchable is, I guess, PGs and like triggers. Like, that'd be a little bit too broken if I could just casually just search PGs off the grade 2 base and just like, okay, grab a PG from hand, put Persona and like a piece in there, have the grade 2, grab Persona, and I basically have a set hand for free. Like, if that was the case, this deck would have been so much stronger than everyone thinks it is, and it'll probably be like a sought after deck. But no, it's still slept over, and I believe it's still slept over, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, probably 4 is very strong. I don't mind changing it to 3 into maybe a different B hero. I've thought about a couple choices, but nothing really got to mind right now. I'll keep these at 1-ofs. I kind of like the idea of a loop and then an extra board remaker plus the 20k beat stick. Because even if you don't use it for the board make, it's still 20k. If you don't want to use this to so let's do draw, you can at least use it for a 10k shield. So instead of calling a Master Army, you could just call this and you'll be fine. But yeah, let's see. One quick thing that little quick combo that people have done that always ask me is like, from turn 2 onwards, how do we get 3 bases? And turn 1, you always at least have your grade 1 base. You always play it turn 1. You rest it being any hero. Let's say for example this, right? Okay, I gotta edit it to be in set order like that. So from here we added 2 base. We got 2. Say we don't have a base in hand, but we end up having this +1. So +1, sure, like this. So instead of playing the grade 2 where we +1 could like discard a card just for neutral, we could just go +1 instead and just play this. Base grade 2, get the grade 2 base. We basically auto base it, so our order for turn is still open. So we top 7 for anything. Let's just say Persona grade 1, or let's see, this I guess, sure, and a grade 1, doesn't really matter which kind. Let's say this one, sure. I kind of like keeping the grade 1 instead and leaving these to the base. Like, you could have a discussion. Like, this is the only like one nuance with this deck, is that you need to figure out what you want to keep in hand, what you want to keep in hand, what you don't want in hand right now. This deck likes to be aggressive, so I want to play more aggressive. So we'll keep the grade 1, and we'll base these 2. Because if we end up getting the looper, the grade 2 on battle, after battle, grab 1 from hand, we can always grab Persona, so we'll keep it that way. And this the hand. We're not gonna call this just yet. We'll just use like an X hand, like whatever card in hand, to proc Vanguard ability. Pick a card, reveal a grade 3, search our deck for a grade 2 base, and we scout any card that we are missing out of our stack. So the number 1 choice based on this board, we don't have Dinos, so our basically our youth work version. So search this first. If we have it already, then we search for Swapper. These are always the 2 choices that you always have whenever you play this game, this deck. Always Dinos first, so that you get a right target, and the Swapper, just so I get an extra attack. So right now we're not really stressing with an extra attack right now. We're fine. As long as we have our youth perk version, we're fine. And plus we always have a chance to hit it again, so we play the grade 2 order for our hand. We get lucky, we end up getting this, and say we get 1 more of this, sure. We'll add the Swapper to hand, put these 2 to base, and then from here we would have these 2 in hand. And say we want to do an extension, so we're gonna call this here, skill EB3, rest the unit, call Darnia. Say we have 1 CB available, for example. Hold on, let me fit everything here, because this deck can get very cluttered really easily. I'll just say that CB's right there, all the bases are here, sure. There, cool. We have this in hand, so we decide to call it just because the attack pattern is a little bit interesting. So at the end of this sequence, we go to battle. We have 3 bases. So the only thing that gets power here is this. So it gets an extra 5k. So what we can do is that we swing 10. So check, basically 10Ks are always checks. Say they guard it, I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's 1 card. That's perfect. That's perfect. So instead of, but in the instance case they take this, they hit a defensive. That's fine. We can end up boosting with this, so it would be 23. If they didn't hit a defensive, we go for 10. From here, they can either guard it, take it, no defensive, for example. Let's just say no defensives at all. CB1 end the battle. It's a drop. We get to call any of the grades 2 or less to the field. Our choices are either loop, go get a persona for next turn, for the turns after, but we don't really have to worry about that right now because we don't have anything to really send in here. So we're gonna call this instead of our beat stick. So because what we're gonna do is Celeste 2, draw a card, and then because we have 3 bases, it is a 20k beat stick. It's not grade restricted. So meaning when we swing here, 18, let's just say we thinned at least like 8 cards. So most likely it's gonna be a trigger of your choosing. It could be whatever. Put it all here. This guy is 20, 30, 43. You deal 43 to someone that's 8k. That's instant take. That's a literal instant take. If they hit a crit here, if you hit a crit here by any chance, they have to take 2. There's no way in any world someone is gonna put in 45k shield. In what world would they do that? Or they just PG this, which is whatever. It's fine. That's fine. If they PG this, that's fine. That's 1 PG out of the deck. That's 2 cards out of their hand. Say if, for example, they hit a defensive, they're that good, you know, like they're like that. Okay, that's fine. Swing 10, hit a defensive, that's fine. Swing here, 23, that's still 15k to ask. They might have to take this, or they give they do like 15-5, that's 2 cards, that's fine. Or they take this, okay, that's fine. Pray it's no defensive, because for some reason that 1 defensive is like whatever, that's fine. But 2 defensives is kind of just shuts down the turn. So pray they don't hit a defensive here. CB1, call this instead. So S2, draw a card, so you get value off that grade 2. Swing 18, still hits over defensive. Say you hit a crit, they guard this obviously, so you put it here. This is still 30. That is still an ask. That is still an ask for 15 on a crit too, which is super strong. It could be any trigger literally, but it's still 30. It's still asking 15k. So on your turn 2, you just did 4 attacks, 2 checks basically, and 2 attacks that does over defensives, which is, well, you can literally do 2 checks or 1 check plus 3 attacks that do over defensives, which is absolutely nuts, especially with this deck only wanting to do like multiple. We'll go into the next turn. Rewrite up. So it gives us like 2 CB. Well, we're gonna need that base, but say like 2 CB. Sure. We go into this turn like this. Literally not much needs to be done this turn, other than the fact that, oh, we need a hero. We need a hero from our hand, because what we're gonna do, we send everything, effect, rest, and then call this from this effect. This procs because it is only rearguard placement, not from just hand. So we just base this, search for a grade 2, or search for base. We'll keep thinning, so grade 2. It's pretty good. And top 7. Say you didn't really hit the best. You only hit this and like this, I guess. It's not the end of the world. Just add this to hand, just in case it gets targeted removal. Call this, or put this in a base. Add that to hand, and this effect. We'll put this to soul. We'll grab like any hero that's in here that you used up. So I guess say you pitched that, pitched like the grade 2 shield hero, you basically just added 10k shield for free. It's just cool. We basically have Vanguard that's CB free. We have our Youth Break piece. So our combo basically goes like this. Say that you end up having a second Darnia instead of like pitching this somewhere. This will go in the drop. You use the grade 1 skill, add that back, so nothing, you're not really losing too much. You basically just refunded Darnia on the board for this, so an extra attack. So we go to battle. We're at 3 bases, so we have the goal. We could maybe have another base in hand just to make 4, but it's whatever. We'll say we just didn't hit bases at all. Swing 10 here, just to check. Guards it because he notices that we have a bunch of attacks. I'll tell you. 13. Simple. Say we didn't hit nothing, so we got these 2 to hand. The good thing about this is that these 2 go on a stack because they're both at the end of battle of Vanguard attacks. So we'll do this first. So less 1. Here's this. Swap. And then effect. Send these 2 to soul. Send this to base. Ride the Vanguard. So from here, +5 to the front row Vanguards. Front row B-Hero Vanguards. So these 2. So now these Vanguard attacks now ask for more cards. So we'll go here, 15. 15. Okay, good. They guard it. Let's actually start Vanguard first. So we'll go 28. Go CB1. It'll get +15 in the crit. This one is something that they actually is like makes or break their turn or their game. Is that if they low guard this and I end up hitting a crit, most likely they die here. So most likely they have to guard with their life here. So say you end up hitting a crit. Cool. He guarded this, but sure, we're not done. He's not out of the water yet. This is a 25k on their grade 2. So they're at 10. So that's 20k shield that they're asking. So if they have a front, they have to give that 1 card. If not, that's 2 cards. If not, they give 2 cards. CB1, kill it. Put another grade 2 base. This effect. Soul Blast 2. Soul Blast those two heroes that you just sent into soul by the grade 3 ability. Back on the board. Draw a card. So add these hand. And then you just swing. This is going to be 25, 38. That's a 38 while he's still at 10. And end the turn. Re-ride. This is your end board. Like, you did 1, 2, swap, 3, 4, 5, swap, or call, 6. He did 6 attacks on turn 3 with 2 CB. Say he gave you 0 CB. He swung rares. That's fine. Literally, all you have to do is just call the board. You just call big guys here. You just swing here, call this here, call this here, have swapper. You had your grade 1 order. You just play it. You have it in soul from grade 1. Put it into soul. Grab whatever card you want. Sure. You gave me 0 CB. Guess what happens? This is we give you 1, 2, swap, soul blast, swap, bang. Well, up. Here's the grade 3. Well, y'all here. Well, you had the grade 3 in the entire time. Well, 1, 2, swap, 3. Instead of swinging Vanguard first, 3, 4, 5. We're still giving you 5 attacks. That's still checking for defenses on the first 2 of them. And every single time you damage me, the more I'm just gonna give away. You're giving me tempo. And hence that's why it's like the counter chargers feels kind of mid. Just because it's like whatever. Like, if I'm gonna give you this much tempo, I'm not gonna just beat your face in, right? What we can also do from here, from turn 2, because your turn 2 is it's like your most critical turn, just to filter all your heroes. So we want to at least go get at least 3 bases by then. So say we brick, we don't have any heroes except for this one, and like maybe another one. So this one, for example. And we only had the grade 1 base. We didn't have any bases in hand. So we can have an X card as well because we need to use it for pitch. So from here, it is an awkward state. You have no bases in hand other than this one that you played last turn, and you only have these cards. Can be whatever cards after, could be my shield, but whatever. So from here, actually not this one, because say you actually don't find any base searcher, so this. Sure. This is what we can do, actually. Because the order zone is a base now, we could do its effect first to pitch it. We search for base searcher. Search for Frondia. Search for get to base. Frondia goes on the border zone. This goes to hand. From here, we don't just play this immediately. We can actually, this is standing by the way. What we can do is that we call this effect is that we just rest the space, because the one thing about this deck or about this card, it's not asking for the grade 2 base. It's literally any base that's in the order zone. So say you don't use this yet, we'll just rest it instead, just to call this over. And because it's called over without any caveat, like without any like restriction, effect, base, and base. And then we do our top 7. The only one thing about this line that kind of sucks, or that's gonna be a little bit difficult, is that it's not, you didn't tutor the 2 ofs, so your Dinos and your Swapper. So you're gonna have to end up being a little on the luckiest side to end up getting the grade 1 Swapper or the Dinos. So let's say we're lucky, sure. For some natural, like if for some god-bidden reason you end up getting both of them, and then you like got this, I guess. Sure. All right, you're him. You get this to hand. Well, we prefer to have this here. We still have our second base. Okay, cool. Ooh, you're him. You get this. You get this. You get this. Okay. You basically just re-establish the board that you just had like earlier. Okay, you're gonna add this to hand just in case you need to break your board. Base this. We're basically in that same situation where we get to call this same board state, other than the 1 CB. 10, call over, call, so that's 2, draw a card, 8, 10, that's fine, 10, still another check, 33. It's still pretty strong, it's still very strong. So from here, you're pretty much bound, you're always gifted at least 3 bases. The only time you don't get 2 bases is that, or you don't get 3 bases, is that if you don't see this, if you don't see these 3, don't see 3 and a base, sure, you get unlucky. If you don't see any of these 4 cards, sure, it's pretty hard to get full board or like the full setup for your turn 3. But that's super rare, especially considering that you're going to be searching your deck so much already. And you're always going to end up getting 4 bases no matter what, because even if you fail to get your base next turn, this searches for a base naturally. So you'll always have a base. You always get a hero, no matter what in base. You can always search for more. This deck is literally just solves its own issues every time. It always surprises me with every piece of support this deck gets, every single set, that everyone just ignores and actually gets them, like bites them back, you know. I think that's it for the combos. Deck profile, deck analysis. I think now we're just gonna watch a little. We watched the stream game that we had, so let me just clean up real quick. Yeah, we'll just watch a quick little stream match that I had during Vancouver. A very quick game. Literally, I'm just gonna break down everything, my decision choices, everything. A stream from Card Dweeb, aka Charlie, one of my good buddies and judges. And here you see Woody, or Bamboo. Very good player, Worlds participant player. Literally won standard last year. Just doing some commentary. We're just gonna mute it just real quick, just because they're just gonna constantly go over the like my deck, my opponent's deck. Round 6, it was against Eva. I ended up going first, which is super good in my favor. It literally makes this matchup like a 60-40 my favor to a 90-10 my favor. In a way where if I get my pieces, which is kind of like 80% true that's gonna happen, I will just bulldoze them straight out the water. So we'll just, oh, I think that's fine, right? Yeah. All right, from here, we end up going first. So already it seems so comfortable. In my hand at this time, I ended up having Dornia, which is already a better hand than everything else. I literally have a better hand just because I have my base searchers. So from there, it doesn't matter what I have in hand now. It's just worth. I ended up getting Persona, so I don't have to search for it anymore. I also have the grade 1 blue girl that is EB3 rest of base call a card from rare, so I'll always have my combo. So I'm always guaranteed to have my combo no matter what. My turn 2 4 attack combo. So I just thought into my head, he's on a timer. So he's on a timer as soon as the first attack goes by. So go by a turn, pitch to grade 2. I forgot I had that. So that's to draw. I ended up pitching that. So by the time my grade 1 base goes out, I ended up searching for the grade 2 base just because I have the grade 1 base. So one thing that you're gonna have to do is that it's basically like Eva. If you have the grade 2 order or the grade 3 order, search for the grade 1 and vice versa. Basically just fulfill any of the issues that you don't have in hand. So I search for the grade 2, play the grade 1. Other than getting my energy. Go hurry up. Can you play your order? Come on. Okay. Play it. And base. You also notice here that he is asking to look into my cards every single time. This is that was a very like ongoing thing every single time during tournament. Everyone just asks me about like, okay, what does card do? What does card do? Literally every single time that everyone asked me what to do, like what these cards do, I was in my head just saying, oh, these guys are cooked. These guys are so ready to just take in so much damage. So, or they're so ready to basically get cooked by a deck that nobody even thinks about. That's literally another reason why I chose this deck for the tournament, is that no one knew this deck at all. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna catch everyone off guard, play my pet deck, and get there. So we go about his turn, search for grade 2 order, second draw, and then top 5 search. He ends up getting nothing out of it. So beneficial to me. He swings, I know guard, he hits a heal. I get the grade 1, that's whatever. It's not a big deal. Another card searching. I ended up pitching the grade 2 order just because I ended up having too money in hand. Or I ended up getting, I ended up getting the looper, the grade 2 looper. But we go through our turn, so best 1, discard a card. I discard a crit, or yeah, heal. Yep. Once again, searching my cards. Grab my grade 2. I eventually get into searching my grade 2 base order, getting top 7. Pretty sure I only got 2 out of this. Right? Oh dear. Yeah, so top 7, grab 2. And I'm getting the blue girl and the swapper. So already my game plan is going to fruition. I have my 4 tech turn for sure. I have my unit call from base for free. And I also have my swapper. I actually put it in drop thinking I pitched it for Vanguard ability, but I didn't, so I'm putting it back on there. From here, this is a decision that you could possibly make if you have another base, is that you could either choose the base, like play a base right now and top 7 search, or you could just play Vanguard ability right off the bat. Just shotgun it now. Go get the one missing card that you need out of the deck already and get another base. So you can thin another 2 cards. One of them being a brick or like a missing card, like a missing B-Hero, or another brick, so another base, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Just to thin the deck a little more. It's either or, you could choose to. I'm pretty sure I based first. Yeah, I based first because I wanted to see what options I get. Like if I end up getting Dinos first, the grade 3 right up target, I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm here in the tank because I ended up getting 5 heroes out of 7. So I decided ultimately on the on-play scout a hero, another base searcher. I got the swapper again, so when the swapper goes into soul next turn, I don't have to fret about getting it back on the board anymore, when I could just call it again. And I ended up getting the grade 2 searcher, the grade 2 Sobas 2 draw card. I'm pretty sure I picked up the grade 2 Sobas 2 draw hero to ultimately just pitch it. Yeah, there we go. Base those 2, do its effect. Grab my Vanguard, feel, pitch a card. Don't know what I pitched. I think I pitched a crit here because I feel like I was in such a demanding position that I don't really care about my shield value in hand. So I saw that I'm missing my Dinos, my Youth Brick card, so I kind of just switched it over, ended up basing it. So now I have my turn 2 play, my turn 2 4 attack play, I have my turn 3 attack play, I have my Youth Brick play, I have 5 attacks guaranteed no matter what. I also have a base in hand guaranteed going into my next turn. So this deck literally just plays by itself for majority of the time, your grade 2 being the most critical. And we'll stop here real quick. Look how many cards are in my base. That is, besides the last 2 being the grade 1 and the grade 2, so best 2 draw card hero, that is 5, 6. That's 6 cards out the deck already. Well, 7 now because the damage was not a hero. We are literally in the driver's seat this entire time now. From here on forward, that deck is at least 75% triggers. And it's only going to get higher every single time that we're going to play this game. So we're going to EB3's rest of base to call a card. We're just thinking what to call. We call the swapper, we call the Sobas to draw a card from our hand, so we don't have to worry about anything anymore. End up resting the grade 1 base, go get the 20k beatstick board maker. So I guess that's what I pitched later in the turns. So ultimately this is what our board is looking like. So from here we are swinging some insane numbers that are all gonna be at least 1 check to be all over defensives. So the grade 2 Sobas to draw a card hero is gonna get plus 10 because there's 3 heroes. The grade 1's getting plus 5. I ultimately check it because he ends up reading this card saying, oh, CB1 bid 3 bases, oh, I get to call 1 more to its effect. He hits no trigger, there's a check, nothing hits. Call the board maker because I just want the 20k beat stick. So it's gonna be 18 over defensive. I think he's doing want to pass. I do want to pass. I hit a draw there. So hits another non-defensive. So now these sides are insane. He hits 20, guards it. That is 38 on his grade 1. That's 38 on his grade 1. That's an instant take. Like how fast he look how fast he took that. It's like, okay. So this is a perfect example why if you damage deny me here, you lose all the tempo in this game and you're ultimately just dead. You're gonna die this turn. So it goes and searches for the grade 2. Starts reading all the cards again, but he does read. I'm pretty sure from what I deduce, he read the Dinos card because of the CB plus 15 in a crit. So he kind of wanted to deny that part, I'm assuming. Because I think he pretty much knows that Vanguard skill is going to be automatic for free. So you just want to make sure he avoids the 15k crit. So plays use unit as his only playable card at the time. I don't know what he grabs here, but ultimately he doesn't have a great hand, considering him being at 3. He has at least one PG, like a 15. So, not great choices he has here. I don't know what he gets here, actually. Ends up getting Imigrar again, which for me was very questionable, just because he already has Imigrar in drop. If he cared about trying to live this turn, I'd say getting the crit here, or getting shield value, like the Obscurades would have helped. So we go here. He actually decides to swing rare here. I actually, from here, I already kind of telegraphed what this idea was, that if he decides to swing rare, I will defend it with my life. If he swings Vanguard, okay, that's just a gift to me. He just dies next turn. So the smart play was to defend, or swing rare, damage deny me, so that on the Vanguard on my turn, I don't have an extra attack, or extra power. So he swings rare, the 20k beat stick, I was like, okay, this is where I defend. We go O to the pass, he hits nothing. Swings 15 to the 10. This is the reason why I called the grade 2 with the 20k beat stick, instead of the grade 2 so best to draw a card. For sure, they're both 20k beat sticks, but I want to keep that grade 2 on the board just so that I don't have to worry about it anymore. So Soulblast 1, rest 1 of the bases, call the grade 2 Soulblast draw. Not for the draw, but just for the 10k shield. I go into my turn. I'm basically looking for blood. I pitch whatever I had in hand, probably a draw, pretty sure. The draw that I had. Okay, so from here, literally things are so straightforward. The one thing I had to think about is that I had the choice to EB3 rest the base to call Frondia, the base searcher, just to dig my deck a little deeper. The only issue that I found that happening is that if I give him a check first, which is just a 10, I feel like that's safe enough for him, and especially with him hitting a 5k, I think he would have been okay with just taking out 5. Like guarding that 5, that would have been a card that he didn't really care about. So it was a decision between my attack pattern being either 20, from here being like, from here, if I play a base here, I don't tutor at base here, I just normal base for turn, use the grade 1 order, grab that grade 2 that I guarded earlier that turn, use it, call it here, and his check will be 20, which is asking for 15 directly. So it'll be 15, like a 15k shield. Vanguard would be the only safe card to safe attack. Like it'll be my first check on guard. So I'll swing 13, swap, send. It'll be 25 instead because I'm riding up, and 13 massive, right? So ultimately, I decided on the higher number count, just because he didn't really guard. He didn't really guard last turn that much, so that's why he's at 3. So I decided ultimately, let's just go straight up there. Yeah, so I was in the tank in the thought process. I was like, I can maybe live. I have a PG with 1 damage. I don't really care. Right now, let's not think about the issues that he's going to do if he's going to die this turn. So I ended up just basing for turn, ignoring my tutor, and end up hitting nuts. I ended up hitting 3 bases, 3 heroes here. So I didn't care about the quality of like what kind of cards I wanted. It's just 3. So the probability of triggers is literally going up right now, from like a 75 to like probably like an 80 from here. And more reading. He's reading the loop card. So I thought about the loop card in this attacking sequence, like calling from the EB3 rest card, call that instead. So that, because I'm going to be sending the grade 1 into soul, I could loop, play the tempo game, and probably play in more explosive turn 4. But the one thing about Eva is that Eva tends to stabilize around turn 3 on the write up, because he just picks up so many cards. So from here, and he's gonna end up having 20k shield on the board. So I decided, you know what, let's just go straight for the face. Let's just commit to the line. Ended up getting the grade 2. Yeah, that one. That version of the grade 2s. Just in case for next turn I needed to get another base next turn. Put it in the soul, go grab the soul best to draw card hero, and then ultimately call it. Yep. From here we proceed to... Oh, Yeah, there we go. Start putting the power bricks down just for stream. Yeah, plus 10, another plus 10, one plus 10, and another 5. So we're usually just gonna end up having our last attack being this column right here, and naturally it's gonna be 38 right here, going to be to 43. Guaranteed 43 right here. Oh no, that's 33. It's gonna be 38. Yeah, this is gonna be 38 base by the time we ride dinos. So that's already over 2 defensives. So we're covering that issue where if he hits 2 defensives, it's not gonna matter. So we swing 20 as our first check, which is literally gonna be 3 5Ks or 15K. I think he takes this, yes. Yeah, takes it, no trigger. We're literally in the clear. He literally could die this turn. So we swing 13 as our first small attack check. So from reading his hand, he has his front, which is a little bit of an overguard because it's a 2 to pass. But looking into his hand a little more, there is a PG right there. So he might save that for the massive turn right here, this massive swing right here. He has 2 0Ks being the orders, 2 5Ks, and the front. He's dead. He's literally dead. He needs a bank on a heal at some point here. And he hasn't seen any heals at all this game. Any triggers in general. So goes to the pass. I hit a crit. I ended up putting the crit over on this side right here just because it's a massive number. He has to ask for PG. So if he PGs any point in this turn before this attack, he will die. So swap here and then effect. Put those 2 to soul. Base that. Ride dinos. And then its effect, because it's free. 5K to those rares, the 4 rares. So now, bottom side is a 35, Vanguard's a 13, this side is a 38. Both of them are over 2 defensives, and one side's with crit, so it's lethal. So we swing with the weakest one, obviously 13, small check, do 5K. Obviously, his only guardable that's not a PG is a 5K. And what's happening now? Want to pass? Want to pass. It's not a crit, not instant kill, but it's a draw. He hits another non-defensive. This is lethal. And this is lethal. Literally, he's dead. Swing 35. Accepts it. Takes nothing. GG. Literally, this deck will punish you unbelievably hard for not hitting defensives. But even if you hit defensives, it kind of just does a small band-aid to what the real problem was going on. Because by the end of this turn, I'm going to have a 30, he passes turn here, I pass my turn, he ends up healing, for example. He has a decent hand to go live about with this turn. He's gonna have a decent turn. I still have Persona, I'm still at 1. He's gonna, ultimately, the only thing that I'm gonna be like carelessly doing is that if I just don't guard and I end up taking too much damage, that's the only caveat that I lose here. But if I play it right, obviously, I would be left at 5 or left at 4, most likely, with my board broken. But with what I added earlier this turn, where I added the, let's see, later on in the turn, let's see. Yeah. So because this was not taken out of the board, that grade 1, I have the option of having Verondia here. So I will always have a base search at the end of this turn. So I will always go back to my 4 bases, probably 5 bases here. So I would literally, at the end of said turn, if he says, for example, he lives here, and the board gets flipped, EV3, call Verondia, call it probably in this section, base, top 7, probably, or grab the grade 1 base, send the soul, call, grab probably the grade 2 Darnia just for a multi-attack. Because the one thing about this deck is that it's not limited to just 6 attacks. The Darnia is not once per turn. So if you have the available CB for it, you could keep going with it. So you could go keep checking 25, CB1, 25, CB1, 25. keep it going until like they've run out of cards. And obviously, if you have the CB for it, I wouldn't recommend it. But even then, if you're trying to kill that turn, you might as well do it. But yeah, I basically had board again. Next turn, to basically do the same hell that I did last time. So even for some reason he lives and he has a PG to live with it, he will probably live with one card in hand. But lo and behold, he has CO defensives. This is literally what happens. I just basically showed the world what this deck does. Beat phase, go fast, win early. That's it. And that's literally all I did. All of tournament and all of top 16 is that went against Arluru. I had the driver's seat all game. I went first. Did basically the same line that I did here on round 6. The only thing that kind of sucked here is that, well, not really sucked, it kind of just reality of it, is that he ended up healing around pretty early. So it kind of hurted the guard pattern. He ended up having a lot of shield in hand, but with him having a lot of shield in hand, it actually made him have a problem where he was actually bricking. He was actually missing a lot of cards. So going into his turn 3, after my turn 3, he had 1 card in hand. Because I went into this combo, he is at 5 damage with 1 defensive. Is at 5, 1 card in hand. He was literally just saying he's dead. And funny enough, it was like his first time, or like first time in literal a year into learning this deck, and he was like, wow, like you did this on your first turn 3. I'm at 1 card in hand. That is insane. I'm like, yeah, I did this all tournament. I basically just showed it all, right? And he goes in turn 3. He gets a pretty pretty unaltable turn. He had to call over a dragon over his own dragon to see me draw more cards. 3 orders at least. Was able to call the shark. Shark swings rare. Restand. Swing dino. I guard. Or I take it here. I was at 4 at this point because he gave me a lot of damage. I went at 4. I healed. I was like, okay, that's fine. He swings Vanguard. I'm like, okay. In my hand, I had OT. I had a PG. Literally, the only downside I lose here is if OT gets checked. Because the intention I wanted to have here is that I wanted to PG Vanguard and then hard guard Rare Guard, because I can guard comfortably a triple trigger, which is fine. I don't care. He ends up hitting OT off the last check with 2 blanks on there. So the one trigger that I did not want to see that game, he ends up hitting it. I just sunk in my seat, accepted I lost, but I'm already proud enough as it was, because I ended up top 16. And I'm getting top 16 with this deck, which no one ever in the world thought about, and with my pet deck. So high ego to that. I ended up bubbling in because out of the X1s at the end of round 7, I was first out of the X1s. So out of the bubble, I ended up losing a second time at round 7 to Prison because I went second. It just sucks because Prison is a pretty difficult matchup for me, especially if I go second. It's not entirely the end of the world though, because I beat another Prison player also, but he was also having issues with my pressure, because the matchup between Prison is like a flip-flop between like a 70-30 to a 30-70, depending on who's going first. So if I go first, I have high favor. If they go first, they have high favor. But he top decks Upgrader on his turn 4 off 2 citruses, and he ended up having no life pulse, so he couldn't search. So he was like on the edge right there, and I basically had my board set up to basically kill him next turn because I had Persona, I have everything. It ends up hitting Upgrader. I kind of just sit there. I just accepted it to die. So I just prayed I get bubble. I got bubble. Let's go. And it turns out my top 16 opponent is Aldo, which ultimately ended up becoming the champion of Vancouver. So shout out to him. It is a bummer. It is a heartbreaker to end my tournament run on said OT. It did break my heart for a bit, just because like it's the second time that an opponent that I've had during top tables end up winning, or end up like going into a very high placement. So it kind of sucks, but I gotta move on. So yeah, pretty much covered everything. Heroes, very strong deck. It's literally just missing one card of support until it becomes like a deck to watch for. So many custom cards. Hopefully people are hopefully people are finally trying to see the deck a little more. If anyone has any more questions between matchups, lines, need more deck analysis, you can always comment down below. For anything else, if you want to see any more deck profiles like this, do reach out. We'll probably do a little deck profile as well. If you guys want to see more content from us, do let us know. Just like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. It will be down below. And then yeah. All right. See you everyone. See you in the next one.